Most parents destroy their child's entire day in the first 15 minutes after waking up. They don't mean to. They're not trying to cause harm. But every single morning, millions of well-intentioned parents are doing something that triggers emotional meltdowns, defiance, and anxiety that doesn't wear off until their kids finally collapse at bedtime. The worst part? Most have no idea they're doing it. By the time you finish watching this, you'll understand exactly why your mornings feel like war zones, and more importantly, what actually works to change it. Before we go any further, if this kind of calm, science-based parenting content helps you, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to Parenting Explained. And if you'd like more practical guidance on raising happy, healthy, emotionally secure children, you can download our effortless parenting guide using the link in the description. Picture a typical Tuesday morning in your house. Your child's alarm goes off, or maybe you're the one doing the waking. Either way, the moment those eyes open, it starts. Get up, time to get dressed. Did you hear me? We need to move. Brush your teeth. What do you want for breakfast? Hurry up, we're going to be late. The commands come rapid fire, one after another, and your child hasn't even fully sat up yet. You're not alone in this. Walk into almost any home with children on a weekday morning and you'll witness the same frantic scene. Parents moving fast, talking faster, and kids who seem to move in slow motion or melt down completely. But here's what most parents don't realize. When your child wakes up, their brain isn't just slowly getting started like an old computer booting up. There's an actual biological process happening called the cortisol awakening response. Within the first 20 to 30 minutes after waking, your child's body experiences a natural surge in cortisol. This hormone is supposed to help them transition from sleep to alertness, to literally prepare their system for the day ahead. But here's the critical part. During this window, their nervous system is incredibly vulnerable. It's not ready for demands, it's not ready for decisions, it's not ready for pressure. Their brain is in a delicate state of transition, and what happens during these first 20 minutes doesn't just affect the next hour. It sets their capacity for emotional regulation for the entire day ahead. Your child isn't being difficult when they don't respond to your instructions right away. Their nervous system literally isn't online yet. But what do most of us do? We treat those first moments like a race against time. Let's be really honest about what this looks like. Your child opens their eyes, and before they've taken 3 breaths, you're standing there with a mental checklist that you immediately start downloading onto them. Get up, right now, I need you to get dressed. No, not those pants, the other ones. Did you brush your teeth yet? What do you want to eat? Cereal or toast? Decide now. Where are your shoes? Why aren't you moving? Come on, we're going to be late. This feels helpful to you? You're trying to keep the morning on track, trying to prevent the chaos of running behind schedule. But from your child's perspective, from their developing nervous system's perspective, this is an assault. That's not an exaggeration. When rapid-fire questions and commands hit a child's brain in those vulnerable first moments, their amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for detecting threats, lights up. The prefrontal cortex, the area that handles decision-making, problem-solving, and impulse control, isn't fully operational yet. It takes time to come online each morning, especially in young children whose brains are still developing. So when you ask what they want for breakfast or tell them to hurry up, they can't process it rationally. Instead, their brain interprets the urgency in your voice, the tension in your body language, and the barrage of demands as danger. They go into fight or flight mode. Some kids fight. They refuse. They talk back. They throw the cereal bowl. Other kids flee. They shut down, move even slower, or hide under the covers. Neither response is defiance. Both are survival responses to what their nervous system perceives as a threat. What you might not realize is that the damage doesn't end when you finally get out the door. Starting every single day in threat mode does something to a child's developing brain that most parents never consider. When your child's system floods with stress hormones first thing every morning, day after day, month after month, it doesn't just make that particular morning harder. It begins to reshape how their brain responds to stress overall. They start to develop anxiety patterns. their baseline level of emotional security starts to shift. Think about it from their perspective. The person they love most in the world, the person who's supposed to be their safe place, is the same person who makes them feel attacked the moment they open their eyes. This creates something researchers call ambivalent attachment. The child loves you, but also associates you with stress and unpredictability. Then there's the ripple effect throughout the rest of their day. Teachers and daycare providers report that children who arrive already dysregulated, already flooded with stress hormones, have more behavioral problems, more difficulty focusing, and more conflicts with other kids. That tantrum at drop-off, that inability to sit still during circle time, that aggression on the playground, it often traces directly back to how the morning started. Even bedtime resistance can stem from morning stress. When a child starts their day in fight or flight, their nervous system struggles to fully settle down. By evening, they're overtired, but also overstimulated, making sleep nearly impossible. And here's the really uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Well-meaning, loving parents are unintentionally teaching their children to associate mornings, and by extension, their parents, with stress and anxiety. You're conditioning them to feel unsafe during what should be a gentle, connected transition into the day. But why do we do this to our kids when we obviously don't want to cause harm? The answer isn't complicated, it's our own anxiety. Most parents aren't rushing their kids because they enjoy the chaos. They're doing it because they're terrified of being late, of being judged as the parent who can't get it together, of losing control of an already tight schedule. We live in a culture obsessed with productivity, with being on time, with optimizing every moment. Running late feels like failure. So we project our adult understanding of time urgency onto children who developmentally cannot comprehend it the same way. A 5-year-old doesn't understand that leaving the house 7 minutes late means you hit different traffic. They don't feel the weight of disappointing a teacher or getting a raised eyebrow from another parent in the drop-off line. But we do, and instead of managing our own anxiety, we dump it onto our kids. There's also a guilt cycle that makes everything worse. You rush your child, they melt down, you feel terrible about losing your patience, and then you rush even more the next morning trying to make up time so you won't be stressed, which of course creates more meltdowns and more guilt. Round and round it goes. The uncomfortable reality is this: your child doesn't need to be rushed. You need them to be rushed because of how their slowness makes you feel. That's not a judgment, it's just the truth. And recognizing it is the first step to changing it. Understanding what's actually happening inside your child's brain makes this whole pattern even clearer. When your child wakes up, their amygdala is active and alert, scanning for threats. Meanwhile, their prefrontal cortex, the rational thinking part of their brain, is still warming up. In adults, this transition happens relatively quickly. In children, especially those under 8 or 9, it takes significantly longer. When you start making demands during this window, the amygdala registers the stress in your voice and your urgency as a threat. This triggers the release of adrenaline and cortisol beyond the normal awakening response. These stress hormones flood their little system, and once that happens, cooperation becomes physiologically impossible. Their body is now in survival mode. The prefrontal cortex goes even more offline. This is why logical explanations don't work. When you say we'll be late if you don't hurry, or everyone else is ready, why aren't you? Your child's brain cannot process that information rationally. The thinking part of their brain has been hijacked by the survival part. Here's the piece that surprises most parents. Discipline and consequences in the morning actually make behavior worse, not better. Threatening to take away screen time or issuing a timeout when your child is already in fight or flight just compounds the stress. You're essentially punishing them for a biological response they can't control. The more you push, the more their system resists. It's not about willpower or respect. It's about brain development and nervous system regulation. So what's the alternative? How do you actually make mornings work without losing your mind or your schedule? There's an approach that sounds almost too simple to be effective, but the science behind it is solid. Some people call it the silent morning, others call it slow connection. Whatever you call it, the core principle is this: physical presence without demands for the first 10 to 15 minutes after your child wakes up. This doesn't mean you do nothing. It means you sit with them, maybe put a gentle hand on their back, maybe just exist in the same space while they transition from sleep to wakefulness. You don't ask questions, you don't give commands, you offer connection before direction. This activates their parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode that counteracts fight or flight. When a child feels safe and connected first, their prefrontal cortex comes online smoothly. Then, and only then, are they capable of handling requests and making decisions. After that initial quiet period, you can start introducing the morning routine, but you do it differently. Instead of asking, "What do you want for breakfast?" which requires decision-making they're not ready for, you offer 2 simple choices or just provide what you know they'll eat. Instead of rapid commands, you give 1 instruction at a time and wait for completion before adding another. Your tone matters as much as your words. Calm, quiet, unhurried, even if you're faking it. Now, you're probably thinking, "But we really will be late if I do this." Here's the truth: you'll save time, not lose it. A calm, regulated child who feels safe moves through their routine faster than a stressed, dysregulated child who's fighting you at every step. But this also requires you to adjust your schedule. Wake up 15 minutes earlier. Prepare more the night before. Build in buffer time. In other words, manage your own anxiety instead of passing it to your child. You won't see results overnight, but you will see them faster than you think. Most parents who make this shift report noticeable changes within 5 to 7 days. The first morning or 2 might feel awkward. You'll be sitting there in silence, wondering if you're doing it right, while your brain screams at you about everything that needs to get done. Push through that. By day 3 or 4, you'll likely notice your child waking up more peacefully. They might actually start talking to you instead of grunting or crying. By the end of the first week, the morning battles often decrease dramatically. Some parents report they disappear entirely. What does an improved morning actually look like? Your child wakes up and you sit next to them without talking. Maybe you rub their back. Maybe you just breathe together. After 10 minutes, they're alert and calm. You say it's time to get dressed, and they do it without a fight. Breakfast happens without negotiation. You leave the house on time, and your child isn't already emotionally exhausted. You'll still have setbacks. A late night, a growth spurt, a stressful event at school. These things will disrupt the routine. When it happens, don't panic and revert to the old pattern. Just go back to the basics. Presence, calm, connection first. There's a family I worked with whose 6-year-old son had explosive tantrums every single morning. Throwing toys, screaming, refusing to get dressed. The parents tried everything. Reward charts, earlier bedtimes, consequences, nothing worked. When they finally implemented the silent morning approach, the change was so dramatic they thought it was a coincidence. But it wasn't. Within 10 days, the tantrums stopped, not reduced, stopped. The child didn't need more discipline. He needed his nervous system to feel safe during the vulnerable window of waking up. That's it, that's all it took. This isn't just about making your mornings easier, though that alone would be worth it. How you wake your child teaches them how to enter the world each day. Think about that for a second. If every day begins with stress, urgency, and feeling like they're not enough because they're not moving fast enough, what does that do to their sense of self over time? On the other hand, if each day begins with calm presence, with the message that they're safe and they matter more than the clock, that builds something powerful. It builds emotional security. It strengthens your attachment. It teaches them that they can trust you to regulate yourself even when life feels chaotic. This is the foundation of emotional health, not perfection, not a color-coded chore chart or an elaborate reward system, just consistent, calm presence during the moments that matter most. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Which matters more? Arriving at daycare 5 minutes earlier or raising a child who feels emotionally secure and regulated? You can't always have both, at least not without preparation and intentionality. but one of those things shapes who your child becomes. The other just affects what time you pull into the parking lot. Starting tomorrow, try this. Set your alarm 15 minutes earlier. When your child wakes up, sit with them in silence. Don't ask, don't command, just be present. Watch what happens. You might be amazed at how something so simple can change everything. If this video helped you see mornings differently, you'll want to watch what's coming next. We're going to talk about the after-school explosion, why your child falls apart the moment they get home, and what you can do about it. It's another pattern most parents misunderstand completely. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.